Good morning. I'm Jordan Slocum, and this is the Doane College Review on 99.5 KUTT. Every Saturday morning from 8 until 8:30, we take a look at what's going on around Doane College athletics, academics, arts, and more. On today's program, we'll chat with Ashley Lyon, the head coach of the Doane cheerleading and dance squads. We'll also hear from Assistant Athletic Director Cody Vance on the selections for the Doane Athletic Hall of Fame, which were announced before the start of the new year. We also have an interview today with Kyle McMurray, Doane's Director of Admissions. But first, we have a chat with Ashley Lyon, whose Doane cheer and dance teams will be getting their competitive season started this weekend. First off, Coach, heading into the initial competitions of the season, how do the teams look?
We're looking really good, actually. One of the things that sticks out with, I think, the group this year is that it's a team that's still evolving on both ends. So we have to understand that for us to be able to be successful, but both teams have so much potential. And as we become more and more competitive, I'm really just pushing them with routines that look more collegiate rather than skills done at the high school level. So that takes some getting used to on their end. You know, it's hard work, but every week we get better and better, and they're really responding well, and they want to help me take this program to the next level. They're definitely ready for it.
What have been some of the biggest focuses the last few weeks of practice?
In practice, definitely, well, we started with two-a-days, so really gearing into competition, that's kind of, a big deal. So really we focus on two things, the first being physical fitness. Both cheer and dance are extremely athletic activities, so we really try to focus on our flexibility and endurance with sport-specific training. Not only does that help us become physically ready, but it aids in injury prevention as well, which has been really low, so I'm thankful for that. And the second thing I like to focus on in practice is just team unity, team bonding, and trust, because without those things, it's just a group of individuals. So when they work together and support each other, that's when they're successful, and I see the most success out of them.
This is the Doane College Review on 99.5 KUTT, talking to Ashley Lyon, the cheer and dance coach at Doane. What are some of the differences between a dance competition and a cheer competition?
Dance, really, where they both perform at the same competition generally, that's really where the similarities end. Both have really specific and different requirements. So for dance, we must include three different styles, which are jazz, hip-hop, and pom. And we have a time limit to our music, and then they have, specific technique things that they require, like a squad leap, turns, and things like that. Now, for cheer, the time level, music is the same. There's no crowd involvement section, so it's just purely to music. And our skill requirements, have varying degrees of difficulty, with execution really being the main focus. But for cheer, requirements include partner and group stunts, pyramids, tosses, jumps, and tumbling.
Now, what are some of the differences between when everyone performs at like a basketball game or a football game versus one of the competitions?
Yeah. Performing, at games is about school spirit and keeping the crowd involved. We're there to support the teams in football, volleyball, and basketball. So games are kind of more of a prep season for us to work on different stunts or different dance styles and techniques to see what works and what doesn't. Now, when it comes to actual competition, that requires a lot more dedication. Our competition season is now here during the winter, and we're expected to perform routines in front of judges where we're ranked based on our abilities that we showcase in a 2-minute and 15-second routine. So competition season is a lot more difficult and takes up a lot more time, but it's definitely worth it. The kids really enjoy it because it's something that's just for them. So,
again, talking to Ashley Lyon, the Doane College cheer and dance coach here on the Doane College Review. This is your first year in this coaching role. How has that process been for you personally?
Oh, it's actually been really great. I think with anything new, there's a slight learning curve, not only for me, but for my athletes as well. Adjusting to a new coach takes time, and so does building relationships. But I love my teams. They're always willing to do what I ask of them. And then on the other hand, the athletic department and staff has been really helpful and really supportive. So this process has been great. I've enjoyed it, and I love coming to work.
And you're a Doane grad, and you're also an alum of the cheer and dance programs. Was that part of the reason why you were interested in this position?
Absolutely, yeah. Of course, being a former member of the dance team and a Doane graduate, I had an amazing 4 years here, so it just made sense for me to want to come back and coach here. And being an alumni, I have such a personal investment in both teams, and I want to teach them all that I can and want to see them succeed.
Again, talking to Ashley Lyon here on the Doane College Review. She's the head cheer and dance coach for Doane. Does anybody on either squad stand out in terms of leadership?
Yes. I mean, I have many, many hardworking kids on both teams, so I don't want to leave anyone out. But, obviously my captains take on that leadership role. They were voted into those positions for that exact reason. But there are always others who are willing to step up when they're needed, whether it's motivation-wise, staying positive, or even taking the time to help each other outside of practice to get better. And, that's really what every coach hopes for, I think.
With kind of this effort to be more competitive, are you seeing more people interested in joining up?
I think so, and I might just be saying that because I'm a little biased. But we've had kids join at semester this year, so I think people are noticing that this program is taking to the next level and getting better. So I think that's a draw for a lot of people.
Last question, Ashley. What are some of the biggest goals you have for this season?
For this season, I had, at the very beginning, I had each team sit down and discuss as a group some short-term and long-term goals that they had for this season. And a common theme with both teams were, the obvious things like skill acquisition, fitness, team unity. But ultimately, their biggest one was to just improve where they did last year at this time at competition. And I definitely think we're on the right path to do that.
That was Doane cheer and dance coach Ashley Lyon, and both the teams will start their competitive season on Tuesday at 7 o'clock at home. The dance team will be competing against Midland, and the cheerleading teams will be competing against Midland and Morningside. Again, this is the Doane College Review on 90.5 KUTT. This program airs every Saturday morning from 8 until 8:30. Later on the program, we'll talk to Kyle McMurray, the Director of Admissions at Doane. But now it's time to hear from Cody Vance, Assistant Athletic Director, and hear about the inductees to the Doane Athletic Hall of Fame class, which were announced late last month. What is the process of picking the inductees like?
Jordan, it's good to be back with you. The process it's rather organized, I guess I would say, and it's rather simplified from what it used to be in the past. Currently, there's a committee, basically a selection committee here at Doane that looks at nominees' profiles, and we end up basically choosing the next Hall of Fame class. And the process used to be very complex in the past, and I think we've gotten to the point now where we have a lot of this information already, and we don't have to rely so much on getting actual statistics from the nominees and the future inductees. So it's a process of sitting down, looking at profiles, looking at statistics, those kinds of things, and then making a selection. I have to tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy from the standpoint that there are a lot of people who are considered, and I've always looked at this as a catch-up process because this, the Athletic Hall of Fame started in 1996. It's not very long ago, and so it's rather recent in many respects. Currently, we have 87 individuals in our Athletic Hall of Fame. We have 3 teams. I'm counting the undefeated football teams in the late 60s basically as one team. So we've got some teams, we have individuals, and of course the purpose of the Athletic Hall of Fame here at Doane is to honor and preserve the memory of athletes, teams, and coaches at Doane College. So we usually meet in the fall. We notify the future inductees. We notify them right before Christmas, and then I follow up with them after the first of the year, and we basically work together to plan for the reception, banquet, and induction ceremony here in early April, and specifically it's going to be on Friday, April 8th, 2016 this year.
This is the Doane College Review on 90.5 KUTT, talking to Cody Vance, the Assistant Athletic Director for Outreach at Doane. Now, as we look at the 5 inductees, there's one former coach in Tom Hood, who was an assistant with the football program. Talk a little bit about Tom.
He's a person who is, in fact, interestingly, he just stopped by my office right before you called. He is just someone who is, he just bleeds orange and black. And not only is he a Doane graduate, but he's been on staff here for a number of years. He is also a member, he's also a recipient of an Honor D award here at Doane, which is also very prestigious. He was a longtime defensive coordinator for Doane football, and he coached some outstanding defenses. And basically, for anyone who wants to take a look at kind of a profile of these individuals, just go to DoaneTigers.com, and you'll find it there. There's Rick Schmecker, our SID, did a great story and kind of capsulized what all of these people have done. But Tom, for many years, was an outstanding defensive coordinator. Just did a great job for us. His players earned 19 NAIA All-America awards, 62 first-team All-Conference. The 1986 team finished with the second-ranked defense in NAIA. 1993 team, which qualified for the playoffs, ranked second in scoring defense, allowing 13.7 points per game. He was a guy who basically ran that 5-2 defense, which you don't see anymore. I think he called it an Okie defense. But it was a defense that teams weren't used to. I mean, teams were used to running against a four-man front, perhaps with three linebackers, and Tom's defenses were always hard to go up against because they were different. And he really coached precision. And his motto, I always say, was, as a defensive coordinator, was bend but don't break. I mean, we'd bend a little bit between the 20s. We seldom broke, and that's just a testament to his leading our defense for all of those years.
Talking to Cody Vance here on the Doane College Review on 99.5 KUTT. There's another football inductee and former defensive lineman, Lewis Cooper. What have you seen with Lewis?
I don't know Lewis very well. I think the last time he was on campus was when the undefeated teams were inducted in 2010. I believe that he was back. I've corresponded with him by letter and by email. And Lewis, and I also talked to Coach Papik about Lewis. And, I've been at Doane 38 years, so I feel like I know a lot of people just from being here so long. And Lewis is one of those individuals. I want to get to know him better. He was originally from Chicago. He transferred to Doane from the University of Nebraska after 1 year. Played for Doane from 1968 to 1970. The 68 media guide listed him as a mountain of a man. He was 6'8", 285. We didn't keep very good defensive stats then, but he was an outstanding player. They had a great defense in 1968. He was part of 2 undefeated teams in his 3 seasons, and those were glory years for Doane football. And what's interesting about Lewis is that his son, Xavier, plays for the Cleveland Browns, and I'm hoping that Xavier can come to the ceremony because it's not often that we have a current NFL player on campus. And I'm really hoping to meet Xavier. Lewis and his family live in Tacoma, Washington, and Xavier played at Washington State, now for the Cleveland Browns. So I'm looking forward to getting to know that family better.
Again, this is the Doane College Review on 99.5, talking to Cody Vance about the Doane Athletic Hall of Fame incoming inductees. We move on now to the men's basketball team and Chris Dahl.
Yeah, Chris Dahl was one of those post players who played in Bob Erickson's offense that really showcased post players. I mean, when you go back, we have several people in our Athletic Hall of Fame who played for Coach Erickson. They played the post. Steve Bartek, Brian Hoffman, Alan Gisler. Those are 3 that just come to mind. There are others. But Chris was from Ralston, played from 92 to 96. He was just a force inside. He was really a strong kid, and he was a great player. And like I said, with Coach Erickson, the post player excelled. And he scored a lot of points, and I think in one game he scored 43 points against Midland, and that was really not all that uncommon. He just, he was about a 56% shooter from the floor, and he's one of those basketball players that's really worthy. First team All-America in his senior season, which had been the '96 season. They qualified for the NAI National Championship Tournament. And also on that team was Jared Olson. Jared was the point guard, and those two guys really made that team go. And there were some really good other players on the team, but those two guys really made it go. And I've corresponded with Chris. He's looking forward to coming up here. And one thing I really appreciated about Chris, he was, even after he left Doane, he remained close to Coach Erickson. And even in Coach's final days in 2009, Chris was right with the family, and really a fine young man, very worthy of this honor.
Again, talking to Cody Vance here on the Doane College Review. Up next, we have Christina Ruby Barber, who was an outstanding cross-country and track and field athlete. Yeah,
Christina was from Doniphan originally, and she was a member of 10 Nebraska-Iowa Athletic Conference championship teams, including 4 in cross-country, 4 in outdoor track. Her freshman year, she was a member of the NAI National Runner-Up cross-country team, which is Doane's highest finish in the sport at a national championship. She was an outstanding cross-country runner, outstanding trackster. I know Chris is looking forward to getting in. She lives nearby. I think she and her family live in Hickman, and also is an outstanding student. NAIA Scholar Athlete for cross-country and track her junior and senior years, and just one of those tracksters, one of those cross-country runners that just, is basically on the radar screen, on the board for a number of years, was nominated several years ago. I knew that she would eventually get into her Hall of Fame, and this was the year that it worked out for her to be considered. So we're looking forward to having Christina also in our Athletic Hall of Fame.
Last one, Cody. We have the first ever inductee from the Doane soccer programs in Stacy Vendetti Corbett.
Stacy's scoring record at Doane was broken this year by Sarah Cushing. And Sarah, I've kidded with her, Sarah will eventually, I told her, said, Sarah, one of these days you're going to be in our Athletic Hall of Fame. And she's so modest, she just smiled. But Stacy was probably, she was from La Vista, played at Papillion La Vista High School, and was just a great scorer here. And soccer is rather new here. We didn't start playing that. I guess '96 was the same year that we started the Athletic Hall of Fame. She started playing soccer here at Doane, and did very well, scored a lot of points, 59 goals. Like I said, until this past year, she was women's soccer's all-time leading scorer with 59 goals, 136 points, two-time first-team All-Conference, GPAC Player of the Year in the conference's inaugural season. That says a lot when you're on a new team that's just starting up, and you're a GPAC Player of the Year. I mean, that's just that says a lot about her ability, and she posted 20-plus goals during her senior year, 6 most in a single season. She's really looking forward to coming into the Hall of Fame, too, and rightly so.
Once again, that was Cody Vance, Doane Assistant Athletic Director, on the upcoming Hall of Fame inductees. We wrap up today's Doane College Review with an interview with Kyle McMurray, the Director of Admissions at Doane. First off, Kyle, what are some of the events that are coming up for students who might be looking at Doane or college in general?
Yeah, that's a great question. So every season that we have here at Doane kind of presents new opportunities for kids to come to campus and see what campus is like here at Doane. And we're heading into that time of year where performing arts is kind of a high priority for us. And so we have auditions for all of our students that are involved in music and theater that are coming up. They start in February, pretty much go the entire month of February. And then the other opportunity that we have for students during the winter heading into spring is personalized campus visits. So students can come to campus and we will personalize a visit specifically for them to see what Doane's like and to experience what it's like to be a student here at Doane for a day.
What are some of the things students can expect to see when they're on campus for a visit?
Yeah, another good question. So when students come for a personal visit, we want to make sure we give them a tour. And the tour is led by current Doane students so that they can share some of the stories that they've had while they've been students here at Doane. And then we always want to have an interaction between the prospective student and a faculty member so that that student is given the opportunity to ask questions about what it's like to be a student here at Doane and what the classroom setting is like. And then depending on what the student is looking for, we want to have them sit down with potentially one of our coaches on campus to talk one-on-one about their sport that they're interested in, or if they're interested in being a performing arts student at Doane, we want to make sure they get the opportunity to sit down with a director. Then once they're done with that, then we give them the ability to sit in a classroom if they'd like to. They talk with an admissions counselor to let them know where they're at in the admissions process, along with what they can expect for financial aid when they come to Doane. And then we have other opportunities for them to take part in on campus, meeting with our College to Career Center to find out what they will do to help the student get a job once they graduate. So we have some very broad things that we like to do with the tour and the interaction with the faculty, the coaches, the directors, the admissions counselor. But then after that, we really can cater it to whatever the student would like to do while they're on campus.
This is the Doane College Review on 99.5 KUTT, talking to Kyle McMurray, the Director of Admissions at Doane. Now, I understand Doane offers a $1,000 visit grant. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
You bet. Any student that is a senior in high school that visits Doane College will receive a $1,000 scholarship that is renewable for all 4 years that they are at Doane. So it technically is a $4,000 scholarship. And all they have to do is call the Office of Admissions, sign up for a visit, and then come to campus. And that's the requirements of the $1,000 visit scholarship.
What are some of the most common questions you get from both students and from parents?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we get all kinds of unique questions from time to time, but there are definitely some common ones that we get. The first and foremost is probably cost. As with any parent and student, when they're looking at college, cost is something that's part of the decision process. So we get that question frequently, and here at Doane we do a lot of things to make sure we let the students know that while it might seem expensive on the surface, we do a lot of things to scholarship students to make it affordable. And so we make sure we answer that question very thoroughly for families. We always get the question of, what's the classroom setting like? What is the interaction between faculty and students? And it's really unique here at Doane that our faculty are very eager to tell students the faculty is going to learn as much every year as the students are going to learn, because we want our students to participate in the classroom. And that's really what the setting is like in the classroom is you're going to be engaged in your learning process. You're not just going to be given information. You're going to be part of the information that's shared. And then the question that we get quite often is, what are the outcomes of the education at Doane? And one of the items that we do is we always point them towards our College to Career Center and let them talk to the individuals over there, and they can show them exactly what it's going to be like after you graduate from Doane and how we're going to prepare you for life beyond the 4 years you're here at Doane. So those are the common questions that we generally get: cost and the interaction in the classroom, and then what happens when I graduate.
Again, talking to Doane Director of Admissions Kyle McMurray here on the Doane College Review. For any high school senior who's in their final couple months of high school right now, what things do you think they should be worrying about and thinking about if they're interested in going to Doane or going just to college in general?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jordan. So there are three things right now that students that are seniors probably should be really focusing on. One is if you haven't already, apply. fill out the application to the schools that you're interested in. That's very important, both for the prospective students and for the schools to know that you are interested in them. The second thing, and we've talked about it already, and that's go visit the campuses. Until you can actually get on the campus, you're not going to know if it feels right, if the fit is there for both you and for the institution that you're looking at. And then the third thing, because of the time of year where we're at right now, it's FAFSA season. So the free application for federal student aid is a process that every prospective student should go through. It opens up opportunities for any grants that are possible for the student, and also any student loan that's available to the student. So filling out the FAFSA, it's that time of year. So those are probably the three things I'd say are the most important right now: apply, visit, and filling out that FAFSA.
And you guys also provide help with stuff like the FAFSA and stuff, because I know a lot of times, especially for students and for parents too, all that paperwork and all that can be just overwhelming.
Absolutely. We have wonderful admissions counselors here in the Office of Admission that will help with that process. We also have a fantastic financial aid office. The best way to get your questions answered is to contact the Office of Admission, and if we can't answer the questions for you, we will definitely get you in touch with the individuals in financial aid who can answer them for you. And both admissions and financial aid are really good about helping prospective students, because, like you said, it's the FAFSA and any of those documents that you have to fill out for federal aid, they can get a little bit overwhelming at times, and we've done it before, and so we're willing to help out whenever we can. Absolutely.
Again, talking to Doane Director of Admissions Kyle McMurray here on the Doane College Review. Obviously, a lot of high school seniors are now probably getting around to that stuff, but do you think that they should probably start looking at that maybe earlier, even in their junior year or sophomore year?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and we're seeing that trend quite a bit in higher education. Is kids and parents both are getting much more in tune with the college search process earlier. And so we want to make sure that we open up opportunities for students to come to our campus earlier in the process. We want to make sure that we're reaching out to students earlier in the process. But I would 100% agree with that. The earlier you can start the college search process, the better off you're going to be when it comes to your senior year. We tell students this when we get the opportunity to talk to them, as even freshmen. The more you can do now, the more you're going to enjoy your senior year. You only get to be a senior in high school one time. So do everything you can to get those tough decisions out of the way so that when you're a senior in high school, you kind of have your ducks in a row and you actually get to enjoy that time, because it's very important for students to enjoy that time when they're a senior in high school.
Looking at Doane specifically, what are some of the things that have jumped out to you during your time working at Doane?
Yeah, the number one thing that has jumped out to me since I've been at Doane has been the interaction that I've been able to have with both the faculty and the staff here at Doane, whether that's the faculty teaching the classes, the coaches, the directors. It doesn't matter who I talk to on campus. I am important to them, and they are important to me. And I don't think that's something you just don't get everywhere, that personal attention that everybody is willing to provide day in and day out. And that has been huge with both the success of myself and with others that are around me, and with the students on our campus. You can see the outcome of the education the students have, and you can always point back to the fact that everybody is willing to make that person an individual and do whatever they need to do to help them be successful, whether they're on campus here, whether they're a student here, or you even see that when the alumni come back to campus and the interaction that you have between former professors and their former students, and former coaches and their former students. Once you become part of the Doane community, you're always part of the Doane community, and nobody forgets you. And I think that's probably been the most amazing piece of Doane College since I've been here.
Again, talking to Doane Director of Admissions Kyle McMurray. Last question, Kyle. How would people go about getting in touch with your office?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So there's a variety of ways. One, you can go on our website. If you go to doane.edu, you'll find some information out about Doane College and the admissions process. You can call our office at any point in time. The phone number to call our office is 1-800-333-6263, or just call the main number, 826-8222, and we'll take care of you. But email us, call us, any way. You can find all that information out on the website. And, we'd love to hear from you and answer any questions about becoming a Doane Tiger.
That was Doane Director of Admissions Kyle McMurray, and that wraps up the Doane College Review. I'm Jordan Slocum.